Okay, this is the Wednesday, November 4th afternoon session of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, and we're doing the blueprint teachings, continuation of last week's blueprint teachings with Mr. Keshe, and I think he's ready to lead this afternoon's discussion here. Okay, Mr. Keshe, are you ready there? Can't hear you. I think maybe you're muted. Maybe Vince muted you there, like me.
Somebody has muted me.
Fabio. We got you now. Thank you.
Oh, okay, now. Where is Fabio? It's gone. Good afternoon, good day to you, as usual, wherever you listen to us. Today is the second part of the afternoon session of the blueprint. What we are trying to do is to teach more, that with the blueprint we carry on adding to what is needed to be done now that we start the manufacturing process. And as the Keshe Foundation Space Institute belongs to the people around the world, we share our knowledge in a way that you might share your knowledge with us. The structure is the way we see it. The possibility is the way it can be in flow of the gravitational magnetic field. If you are looking, we give you the ideas of what is needed in the idea and the information, what we got to look and head for. The structure of the blueprint will be added and added on. In a way, if somebody can draw this principle, what we got today, and we share it on the blueprint. I know you're masters in drawing and drawing things out. So I invite you for you to add to the total blueprint. If you understood the work, what we tried to explain into the blueprint, the work of infinity loop and the work of control. Remember, if some of you who've been on a knowledge seeker teaching points, we explained in the teaching of last term something very similar to this. We explained this very clearly, how plasma is created. I explained in the teaching of the last term, if you were with us, that if you put two reactors or two plasmas and with a gravitational magnetic field, you lead to creation of what we call a free plasma. If you go back to the teachings, and you will see how we explained this creation of a free plasma without or with using two tangible systems. Here you have the same to add further to the knowledge. The gravitational field, oops, I should not touch. You have the gravitational field in the center and the magnetical field in the center. Because don't forget, you have totality of magnetical and gravitational field. So in a way, you have created a free plasma environment between your coils. You can decide the size, the strength of this. This is how we explain how plasmas come into of physical matter entity. But then you have to remember what we explained this morning, that interaction of the magnetic gravitational field, if you create one smaller than the other, creates a gradient of flow of the fields, which in fact will dictate what is going to be in the center. Notice what I explained this morning. I did not tell you to make two similar size coils. I explained use the two coils, center coils you have, the smaller one and a big one. That the gradient in the flow of gravitational and magnetical field creates the loop, creates the flow. When you have 160 turn or you have 80 turn, there is a rate of flow that you control from one to another. Then you put your system somewhere here that you control it. You want to control adding, or do you want to control taking from gravitational? Do you go more to the smaller gravitational system, or do you go to the bigger gravitational system for lower magnetical? So when you start designing these kind of things, then, as I was teaching downstairs just now to the professor from Romania, he's a nuclear physicist as well, he understood very quickly where in our nuclear teachings, somewhere we got everything wrong. So what you got to realize is when you set up these systems, how we have to understand the point of interaction. The rest is a tool. The important thing is this point. If you understood this, if you understand how you can position, you will find out when you start positioning these, the distance between the centers will have a very big effect on your work. This tool, control tool of creating a plasma, is the control tool which I was explaining to you. Excuse me, Fabio. Can you bring the blue box, please? It's in the lab. This is what I was explaining to you last week, that you decide what comes out of this. You press a button, you have water, you press a button, you have a banana, you have an orange. Now you understand, you should be able to understand how to do it, because you have a continuous flow of plasma from the system. When you make a system, make sure you have no matter state. Everything has to be in a nano-coated state. So what you have, you create a gravitational magnetic field of different strength. Here, now, you see what you have. Remember what I just showed to you. Increase the rate of flow from one ring to another in gravitational side. What does it mean? A heavier material. You can produce a gravitational magnetic field, for example, of, let's say, copper here. Then your system put in any environment, because it has both gravitational and magnetic field of the copper, in a copper mass, you create the magnet of the magnetic field and gravitational field of copper in that environment. Now you see how you start building magnets per demand. You want magnetic gravitational field of banana, you adjust it. You don't work on your rings, you work on the flow. In the plasma technology, matter state is irrelevant. The interaction which counts, the fields which counts. The Chinese doctor which built those systems has understood this, but he hasn't completed it. Now you see what we are looking for. The plasma reaction, can I have it here, please? The plasma reaction is, in fact, your decision. You decide how much gravity or a magnetic field in this part you want to decide to be released as a point of center. This tool becomes tool of adjustment. You increase magnetical, you reduce gravitational, you increase gravitational, you go up and down the scale in what you allow the filtering to produce. This is not going to be a job for tomorrow and people come out next day say, I'll produce this. The way to do it, the way you got to test it till you see what it is, it's very simple. You build the system, but try to repeat it. You build your gravitational magnetic field structure with your rings. You have your rings here. Then, for example, you put here a container of CO2, cans of CO2. Then you start playing. You start adjusting. You put another container here of CH3. You put another container of copper oxide here, all in gas. And then you start playing. Increase the gravity, reduce the magnetical, and then you start seeing what gathers here. You put another container with the same salinity, and then you watch which one reduces and what appears. Now you have found yourself a matching system. You take a banana, the way it was done by other people. It tastes like a banana, it is like a banana, or it feels like a banana. You put this water here. And then you start adjusting your system in gravitational magnetic field, that here you create a gravitational magnetic field that when you pick this water up and you taste it, it tastes banana. Now you record at this position, at this place, with this thing, because these systems you preset, it's not going to change. So now this is at this point, at this strength, is banana. Then you start developing systems, measurements that you know this is what you need in the space. This should not take more than 3 to 6 months to get a full spectrum of whatever we need, because this becomes the reference point in a space to produce the materials which you need by plasma. In a space you feel like a banana, you have a point of reference. You have your tool with you. You put it at that position, you know 100% if you stand in the position of this container, you receive the energy of banana, which could be the potassium your body needs. Now you understand? Or is it still too difficult? I have somebody who's far, doesn't know where he's going to go. No? You don't see it? Now the problem is you have to make more coils. You made 3 coils to make the stacker. Now you got to make 2 coils, 2 more sets to make your control system. There's still more to come. This is not your flight control yet. But as part of the whole thing, As I said, we only teach plasma. So now you have to understand how to create plasma. What you take, what you give, what you release, what you allow, and in time, very soon, some of you will try something very interesting. You will start, just put a cup of water here and see if empty cup here start filling up with water. Then, once you achieve this point, which is one of the easiest to do, you start understanding that you can create as much water as you like. And this is what we are testing, what I explained to you. 800 liters a day should be normal. Because now you create gravitational magnetic field of the vapor gravitational magnetic field, which is floating in the environment. And as you know, 80% humidity, 15% humidity is the lowest we know anywhere on this planet. Center of desert areas. So there is plenty of moisture we can take out. Now you start understanding this is not very far from what you've been doing, all of you. That's why you are here. If you remember, we explained in the teachings, you put the copper plate nano-coated and you put the zinc, you connected the two, you created the gravitational magnetic field of a carbon, which in interaction with the water created the CO2 at the bottom. So you already have done this in a matter state. Now you're extending the knowledge to do it for anything. Here you had to have a nano-copper coated that the gravitational magnetic field of the nanomaterial in respect to the zinc was just about gravitational magnetic field strength of the carbon, which attracted the carbon from the environment in interaction with the water gave you CO2. This is what the plants do. Now, instead of having two copper nanoplates and a zinc plate, now you have two reactors, two coils. That's how simple it is. The same structure. This one is here, and this one is here. It's you who's going to decide how the field flows, the same as you decided how the field flows here, that somewhere here is carbon. Now you're doing the same thing with this. So it's part of now working through plasma, then working through nanomaterials. But you need, what I always say, the favorite word of Marco, gradient. You can't do, yes, he says, I wish I would have never said that word. But here is 180 to 90. What about if it's 200 winding and 40? The drop is bigger. Remember part of the teaching, what we did? Oxygen. You have 16, 14, and 12, and 1. The magnetic field flow between these and between these themselves has led to a continuous flow of a plasma in this direction. So it leads to creation of life, amino acid. When you create a very large gap, step, you control more, then you can dictate a lot of things. So if you can produce a gravitational magnetic field in the system of hydrogen, then, sorry, not there, I'll go back. if you create the gravitational magnetic field of hydrogen in this space, then you start with hydrogen. Then you create it, you increase it with water, you have water, everything else you need. But if you bring the hydrogen here, if you can nanocoat with the lightest GaNs here, because now in the GaNs coating you put on your coil is your base limit. If you use a heavy composite GaNs, you're very powerful. You make the other one CH3, so that you create a bigger spectrum. Your job now is to create the biggest spectrum of fields that you can produce as many. Here, between the between the nano-coated copper and a zinc is only 6. Here, add as many GaNs which can be done as a GaNs, and the smallest here, which you can have access to, which is CH3. You can go lower, but you don't have access to it. Then, if this one is, for example, 120, you see the difference. 15 to 120. Then look what a spectrum of materials you can produce. Use plutonium, uranium GaNs on the top and CH3. Then you see the change. Then you see how you start creating, without anything, a flow in a gate. And this is the point which you're interested in. And if you put your cup on and you can measure the right amount, then you attract anything in your cup. But don't forget, only changes into matter state if you learn the technique of changing plasma to matter. Otherwise, you can stand here totally thirsty, and then after a few minutes just walk out as you had 2 liters of water. Because when in your body you stand here in a GaNs state, now you operate in a GaNs state. So you don't need to drink water. The plasma of the GaNs of the water converts to what your body needs. You don't need to drink. This is how you transfer money, or what they call it, water in a space to drinking. You don't go and drink. You create conditions where the cup or the position is created for the water, because don't forget, human race are not the only people who live by the liquid transformation in the body. So this is a normal process which is used to see the substances you need as the essence of life to keep the liquidity. If you understood the teaching, the blood of the man, or the water which you have in your blood, is just for separation of the GaNs of the other materials to float, to be able to receive energy and release energy. That's why your body is 80% whatever is water. Is a means of transportation of the energy in a GaNs state as a plasma, or what you call gravitational magnetic field. So you see, the road to space in being able to produce systems to live in space has just started. We have just entered, knocked on the door. And now you see what I said. We do not teach anymore about GaNs and nanomaterial. We teach about space plasma. It's you who got to understand. And in a future time, as we go more developing, then you don't even look at the coils, because you'll find out you can create these plasmas in a much easier way through the interaction of your emotional thoughts. What you do, you replace your emotional thoughts, which is much stronger than any matter state, at this position, and then the position of the lowest here, and what you wish You absorb, to create, to receive. This is a teaching which we do private in the knowledge seekers section, not in public teachings. And the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers gradually next week, the whole week is planned more or less for teaching how to allow the fields of the body to, what do you call it, to come into interaction. For next week, Caroline will teach you this, the transfer of energy to plasma. And then within a couple of weeks after that, a lot of you will start seeing how you transfer energy, how you transfer plasma in your hand, and then you can concentrate it to make it into entity that you don't even need the, what do you call, the physical coils or the reactors. This is what, as we said, in a private teaching, in the course teachings of SSI Institute for Masters, that's where we are. But in public, this is what you understand, this is what we got to explain, that you can make the tools that is physical to you. Any questions?
Okay, well, we'll have a look at the chat here.
Pardon?
Just having a look at the chat here.
Has Richard managed to show his system?
He hasn't showed it to us yet, at least not completed. Any news there, Richard?
Yeah, I'm completely occupied today, so I'm a bit hands off the energy device. So I managed to do the connections now. It's a 3-stack, and I made the connections on the capacitors, and actually I just have to make a few adjustments to hook it on the net. So I was just actually in the process of going to measure it through and to see what the reactions are and see what's going to go. So, but I'm not in the lab, so I can't fix it. Give me half an hour there in the lab, and I'm probably I can go live, but I'm not there. Sorry.
No problem. Is there anything else happening with anybody else who wants to show if they're near enough?
Curly was showing his earlier, but you saw that.
No, I was downstairs in the lab. I was told.
Oh, okay, maybe you didn't see that. Is he available? Let's see. Okay, there he is. Curly, or do you want to show your, can you show your video? I see you have your audio there, but no video. I think you're trying to talk, but it's not coming through. Okay, he's going to come in again. Try it again. See if his video kicks in this time. And who else? Who else has a system? Kevin, do you have something going on? Kevin? And Shandor does, but I'm not sure if his is complete yet.
I thought in a week you should be able to complete it.
I think there's people out there that have them, but they're not coming forward at this point. Maybe they need more testing or something.
Well, in my case, it's a bit of a time issue. Some of the people have jobs, so it's a question of during the week how much they're able to actually put to the attention to them. So I tried to get a few today, but they had work, so that was a problem. And the time difference in the United States versus here.
No problem.
If you do have some,
still asleep.
You could pre-record a video if you have something there. Maybe somebody could contribute a video for the next teaching.
That was my next thing, to try and see if we could put one of them together. But these guys were putting them on the barbecue pit, so I'm gonna love to see that.
What do you mean they're burning it?
Yeah, they were actually putting them on the barbecue pit just like a steak, Mr. Keshe.
Put the coils to coat them.
Yeah, to coat them with the heat.
I presume that's the way to do it. We're gonna do it in Africa that way, because there's no guns. That's a beautiful idea. I was talking to Alex last night. He's teaching in Nigeria, and more or less he's taken the whole diplomatic corps and the political corps in Nigeria with hand, and is teaching from people from all over Nigeria going to him. And he was explaining how easy people are understanding and how it can change their life. But one of the things is, as you said, we use what is available and can be done, and how it can be done.
I wanted to try and come up with something that you could do using something as simple as the fires that they put up underneath the food to keep it warm, to kind of keep your caustic warm if that's all you had, and create some GANs with just using plastic bags and some of your nanowires. So that's the way we try. I want to make sure that they understand the principles of it, Mr. Keshe.
Okay, thank you very much. As I was just explaining, as you say, for them to understand it, I was just explaining before we go live this afternoon, we had our Romanian group here that the professor had to leave back to Bucharest, and the time we had downstairs a couple of hours to explain and exchange knowledge, is that we'll try from next week or two to make the Wednesdays the scientific day, where scientists like the gentleman was here, or the Chinese doctor who teaches us in the afternoon, they come, professional people with their knowledge, teach us the technology and how they see the use of plasma in the technology. So in the next couple of weeks, we have a number of scientists around the world who are around the foundation, who understand the foundation, the work of the plasma, and they try to teach, and they try not only to teach, so for them to explain how the two sides is connected, the matter world, the scientific world they work, and especially with this scientist from Romania, he can put equations into it. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be able to put equations onto the flow of the plasma, the strength of the plasma, and how each plasma works, scientific measurements on it. So we gradually go into the professional section. We have a professor, hopefully from Bulgaria. He will be online teaching the same way, but in the designs of the technology, material structure. But when you design things or systems, you build what you have to look for in respect to the plasma and the work of the other systems. So if you are a scientist and you understand the work, you're a theoretical scientist or a practical scientist and you understand the work of the plasma the way we do, then you can come in and teach, and at the same time share knowledge with the other scientists around the world on Wednesdays. So we expand the extent of the knowledge to the point that everybody can participate, and then the people who are as knowledge seekers can attend all these teachings. So you can see some theoretical if you're interested or practical behind it.
So
okay, what are we looking at?
Speaking of practical scientists, here's Carol Lee's energy unit. Do you want to go ahead, Carol?
Yes. We have made this energy unit running this morning, and we have made another free coil clockwise. So I can set this three color up and make another one, and it's a chloride. This one is anti-chloride, so I need to test which one is the best of energy producing. Maybe I can use this as an auxiliary unit to connect this to this new unit together, and now coating all my wire, outer wire. So I just gonna test it. And I have this coating. Can you see? It's blue-red coating.
The blue you see, we understand. You see the blue inside. It means your system is gravitational. Whenever you see blue, what we have seen, I'm going to show you a couple of pictures. I've been sent a couple of pictures that you can see. Whenever you see these blue colors, is gravitational. In the normal systems, the inner ring, when it always turns out to be blue, violet blue. Okay. Are you producing any energy or have you connected your system?
Energy unit running for now.
Yes, but what is it connected to? We lost him or we got lost?
To the unit as well.
It's our problem, is it?
So I just run to.
No, this is at his end, Mr. Keshe. We had this trouble before with him. We can't hear you, Carl.
Carl, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
But your picture is frozen.
Picture's frozen, but now we can hear you.
Okay, it's moving now.
Yeah, you're good now.
So I have two unit loads for now. The reactor and the fan connected to the unit.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Every time he pokes his finger at it, it seems to stop.
Hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
You said you have two things, the fat boy and the fan.
Hello.
Just gotta wait. Watch the strings on the fan. When they start moving, you're there. Just watch the strings. Hello. Can you hear us? Fabio. Can you hear us?
Oh, the fan's moving.
Okay. The fan is back again.
I'm back again. Okay.
Okay.
So,
I think, Carl, just stand back. Don't go too close.
Yeah.
You interfere with the fields in there.
You don't put your
Okay.
arm. Every time you put your arm
So,
out, this.
what are you connected to?
Okay. These two loads have been run for hours for now, so I need to take more time to run. And
Yes.
maybe I can.
What do you see? Are you producing?
Tomorrow.
Are you producing, or do you see any difference in your power supply? I think, Carl, you better switch off your video. You might have a better bandwidth. No, the fan is not moving. The fan is moving. Yes. Hello.
Hi, Carl. Maybe you can just go on to audio and leave the video off. That's what Mr. Keshe is suggesting. Seems like a good idea. If you can hear us. We're not hearing you, Carl. Is that John?
One thing I'm noticing about his setup, the fan is looks like a basic plug it in the wall kind of AC fan, and the motors on the Fat Boy, if I remember right, they're all low voltage DC motors, and they're running off the same supply.
Yeah, but we're going to see if he sees anything on his meter measurement. That's what we are looking for.
Well, baby steps.
Pardon?
Baby steps. Take what we can get right now.
Okay, so in the meantime, maybe we could go back to the teacher camera here.
We are looking at the questions.
Okay.
Has the guy, what's his name, from Switzerland managed to go anywhere? Or the gentleman from Malta? I thought you lot will start testing by now.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I went down for a little nap and overslept. Sorry. I was just going to ask some questions on the reactors, the power source where they're using the GANs in the center. Could you use a nano paste for that instead? And then, you know, GANs in the nano state.
Why?
I just wondered. I mean,
The gases are in nano state, in singular state. But why do you want to make them nano?
Well, because I've got quite a bit of that paste. That's what I use for making the little reactors and different things I make.
I mean, I don't see any reason why not.
It's the same thing that we use in Alex beads, pretty much. It's the same mixture. It's thick. It holds together well, and it's got a good charge to it.
Yeah.
I noticed you're using just the different GANs mixtures, but that's what I want to ask about. I also wanted to touch base on the gold GANs.
Yeah. What about your system you're interested in?
I'm working on a system there. It's the same principles, the same. I'm using capacitors and coils and things like that in star formation. I put it in an oak frame. I posted this on Facebook at one point, but I didn't want to go there right now to make any waves with what's going on. The system we've got going are much easier.
Have you managed to connect to power supply to see?
Oh yeah, I've had something working off my other reactor downstairs for a couple months. I posted a short video of that.
No. We're talking about have you made these coils, the stacker unit coils?
No, I haven't made them yet. Haven't had the. Been running pretty busy.
Okay. No, we're interested. I thought you built the coils.
No, I haven't put the coils together yet. I could though. I've been working on other things here. Yeah, I do have some input for the capacitors the way I put them together. If you're interested. I don't shrink wrap them. They're basically the same thing. I use the nano paste inside, and I wrap them with a plumbing tape or an electrical. It's a stretch tape. It seals pretty tight. I have a few of them made, but you know, it's not much different from what you're producing there now.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
I think you asked my, here is Max from Switzerland. Yeah, you asked before, my situation is I'm starting to produce ganses. I have not enough ganses at all. And what I got in trouble was the, you know, the coil. I made the coil and all of a sudden I got information from several people that I have made it in the wrong direction. So, and I actually I need to clarify that what is really the right direction, or which direction did you use when you use counterclockwise. Actually, I made a second one, which is now in the nano-coating process. So I will try to put both together and try if I can make them workable both. Is that possible? Hello?
When do you think you'll be there?
I don't know. The guns, probably I need a week or two until I have all these guns together. I need to buy some material and stuff now. So it'll take some time.
Mr. Keshe, I have a question about the carbon that comes from the barbecue pits. And the question that I have is, would that actually convert into a nano coating, or is that actually a nano coating? Because it's pure carbon, pretty much.
Not sure if your microphone is on, Mr. Keshe, if you're trying to speak. Okay. Thought there was something up.
Batteries.
Where's the battery tech? We need an ever-ready battery man there, full time.
No, we are back. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear. Yes.
We got the battery back.
Very good.
Okay. So what I was saying is that the carbon itself, when you make a charcoal, is in a nano state. What this means is that you have already produced nanomaterial, and in so many ways you can go through a smaller step and convert it into a gas state of the carbon. But if you do it, and you can do it very quickly without change, you create the what do you call it? The process of caustic. It's a very, very simple process, and so your material is already in a state of GANs. You need just to change it through a small process. Any other question? You see, today we gave you a lot of ways to start developing new tools, new equipments, new ways of transfer and use of the plasma. And this is what is important. This is what we go from now on. We try, like today, with double loop infinity, and then I'll teach you another ways of using the loops that we add to the blueprint. Remember one thing very clearly, if you use the loops in a correct way, now you can create new conditions. Put a small loop in the middle of the, but connect them in a correct way. You can start creating composite plasmas. And if you position the right way, you can bring and produce a full composite plasmas. You need to start playing with the positioning of the coils in different position, not only vertical. If you look at it, this is most probably the weakest or totality of high energy. You create a condition of protein amino acid. The question is how you connect which gravitational to which magnetical. And which magnetical you move to have a heavier gravitational less than the other. But now you see the star formation coming into play again. This way, you create the fields between this and this, which is this one, between this and this, which is this one, between this and this, which is this one, and from the interaction, what you create, and you call this one Mr. Cohen. Now you dictate. Do it with the plasma, do it with other plasma, do it with the coils. Because the most important thing at this moment, what we got to achieve, first of all, see how many of you can finish your stacker unit and then do the control, and then how you play with the control. You got to understand how you can change the gravitational magnetic field on each section. But the most important thing is, as I said on the blueprint, you can extend for the heaters, for extraction of material and creation of new plasma conditions, which you have more ease of control and flexibility. We show you every possible way to be able to produce, to achieve, to use plasma from now on. Not interested in nanomaterial, not interested in the GANs, not interested in how you create whatever. what we are interested in, to start making tools using this simple understanding for measurement of the plasma. Because now you have what you were waiting for, the free unit, and this gives you the plasma. You can give it and dictate what you're going to get from it. And then by transfer of the GANs, if you understand it, how to do it, in so many ways, you can produce whatever you need. With the reactors, with the GANs in them, the sphericals, you didn't have the control. Here, with the sliding, with the control between gravitational magnetic field, you decide where is magnetical, where is gravitational, and what part becomes a magnetical of the other one. So now you can produce. Any questions? Maybe by next week we show you one or two of these new tools, new equipments that you feel comfortable to work with and you feel comfortable to apply.
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes?
I was just wondering who's that professor that you invited from Bulgaria to give a lecture about magnetism and gravity and plasma and so on?
We will let you know.
Okay.
He's been with us. He's been with us in Desensano, and he's been here before. We met with him a couple of times, and we're inviting him back to do his tour. He's in the University of Sofia.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice day.
As you know, once we release names, there are a group of people sitting in Belgium and other places who threaten and makes all sorts of threats against scientists and everybody else to stop them participating in the Keshe Foundation work. So now we have enough evidence to show the intimidation and the fabrication which is going on in Antwerp and in other places. And we have handed all the knowledge and the intimidation letters to the authorities. They know exactly how they are working. They're making falsified web pages, and we're trying to protect a lot of people. It's amazing how the thing is working in the background. So we protect scientists, we protect other normal people, because we'll announce it tomorrow what's going on, because the intimidation has gone into the Keshe Foundation supporters. They could not reach us. Now they're intimidating Keshe Foundation supporters directly through Antwerp.
Yeah, Mr. Keshe, then I have a proposition for you to invite a really nice guy and a really good scientist who will teach you a lot of things. So how do I propose his name to you? Obviously not
Yes, pass it on to Vince and then we organize it.
to Vince. Okay.
Thank you very much. So you got to realize we explain a lot of things tomorrow. We are in position of now emails and confirmations that the hand of the people in Antwerp for fraudulent names and things to create Keshe Foundation to be whatever, with as building up very rapidly, and the people finding their names on are making complaint to authorities through us that they are putting our names as victims, they are putting our names as fraudulent to build up a case. And this matter is they are intimidating Keshe Foundation supporters in 2 countries. We try from now on to protect ourselves, but we have emails, confirmation, and the authorities will interview these people. That we are not making any accusations. It's very strife, very big, the operation of the people that are sitting in places in Western Europe. Even their supporters had to go and write their names off the list, which was a lie. So this is what we do. We protect a lot of people from now on. Now we know how they operate through Antwerp. The next point of understanding is that you got to extend the knowledge slightly away from matter state, from the Ganser state. While you're on this blueprint teaching, we give you a further insight into the work of the plasma. A plasma, the way we look at it, is a living entity, is not a screw, is not a bolt, is not a table or a chair or a piece of metal. It's an active entity. And up to now, most of understanding of the plasma is very simple. You always thought as one plasma interacting with another plasma. But now extend the knowledge of the plasma a step further. This is a very simple image. In fact, even in this position, the plasma interacts with the plasma in the other point of the plasma too. You're not used to these kind of pictures, but in fact, that's how it works. The plasma is not just one line, it's a composite line of interactions. If you look at it, in every shape or form, a magnetic field interacts where it finds its balance. Where it finds is similar point of a strength. If you add another plasma to this, you might find totally different proposition for this connection. You always assume a plasma in the interaction with the other, but you got to realize even within the structure of the plasma, interactions happens internally with different fields where the interaction leads to a mass. This is important because in a coming time, we start opening plasmas individually and to see their interactions. This is what we call, if you remember, for example, the copper was 59, but in fact it's 49 over 50 because 10 of them here are producing the extra mass, where they have managed to create a gravitational field strength very similar to the center. And this so adds to the totality of what you call 59, where plasmatic field is 49. Being much stronger, it dismisses these in interaction. We got to understand this because when you come to produce plasma, free plasma, through your intention, through your emotion, you have to understand where the leakages are. How do you create these leakages? This is why you come to understand free plasma has to have a fixed, concentrated position And every intention can divert the plasma from its actual position. As I said and explained earlier on today, in the teachings of the plasma technology in SSI, we are not considering any of whatever we spoke about blueprint. We talk and we teach about intention to create a plasma. We create a plasma, and through that intention, we produce the condition which we desire without the matter state. But when you create these plasmas with the intention, you have to find out or be aware and be in charge and control that you do not suddenly get distracted and half of the energy of the plasma, what you're planning to do, and somewhere else. And then you find out it's totally different parameters you're dealing with, and you do not get what you're expecting. You get this instead of this. This is what I explained before in how you hold your hand, the way you hold your hand, the way you allow the plasma to interact with your intentions, the position you hold your hand, the way you release energy at the highest order to a lower order that you have full control of. Very easy. Marco says, yes, I know. When you come to us after you built all your thermometers and the heating elements and all the things which you are interested in, you'll find out you have just entered or finished graduating from a matter state. To work in the plasma state, you have to be able to understand the structure of the plasma, how weak the plasma is, where the weakness is, and how 99% of the time you create that weak point. Your intention is strong enough to create any matter. Look, I have a lady here, we will see a lot of her, and she will explain this to you. What we're trying to do is to understand the work of the plasma, the conversion of the plasma, not into the matter state, but into what you call plasma state or energy state. Do you want to talk about it? Is that bad? So what we try to do in the matter state, we have no control over emotion. That's why matter in the level of humanity or human strength is emotionless. Table, a chair, wood, a metal cannot show emotion, even though it has an emotion. But for our strength, for our capability, what we're looking for is not so much the matter state without the emotion. We want a state of plasma where our emotion can affect its shape and size. What we take from it, what we give to it, and we dictate how much we give, when we give, and what's going to happen. So I like banana, I don't want it now, but I would like to smell a banana, but I don't want the energy of a banana. You understand the process? This is what it comes, how you are able and you become, but understanding more and more about plasma, to decide if you want the smell, You want the flavor, or you want actual physical banana, or you just want the emotion, because banana, you see it, the taste of it gives you a nice feeling. This is what now, from this point on, in the blueprints, we start teaching in the coming time after hopefully Christmas fair, where you got more confident in your own knowledge. Because at the moment you're all standing on a very, very rocky chair. You're all waiting for one person to show the unit. It works. Our unit gets to your home and it works, and say, now the guy's right, let's go next step. So we plan the next step. By the time we come, we don't have to start from a new foundation. You've got to jump up a little bit fast. Because the trust in yourself is your own downfall. So by the time you catch up, you understand the blueprint will work on this one. How do you convert the emotion into physicality, into a smell, or into a flavor, or vice versa? We know the vice versa. We see a banana from a distance, we can smell it, we can know the flavor, we know the taste, we know what it's going to do, what emotion we're going to have with it. Now we are going the other way around. Through emotion, through creation of the plasma, we can create the smell, which is non-tangible, but still plasma state, the flavor the same, or the physicality of it. Because in a state, what we're interested in is this part, not the physical part. We're interested in the smell or the flavor. Emotion has no negativity. Emotion goes one way. No, there's still emotion, but it's like when you're hot and cold. It's the same. It's just different fields. No, if you, for example, I tell you, those are the medical based, because you are here for that reason. When you have a paralyzed person in front of you, you want to understand the paralysis, how it is, if it's connected with a hot or a cold, if the neurosystem is misreading the current of the hot water or the current of the cold water, or you have people who lose their thermometer. They can walk in the boiling water, they don't feel nothing, and they burn themselves. This is quite frequent, happens to a lot of people. How do you recognize it? How do you establish, is it the emotion or is it the line of physicality? Do you show them the water by seeing a kettle in your hand? They feel the water being warm coming to them. Or you can have ice in your bucket in a kettle because they see the shape of a kettle, hot water kettle. The water you put on their foot or on the leg, to them gives the sensation of feeling, but it's actually ice water coming out. When you've done so many tests as we've done, you understand this. And then you find out the measure, if it's on the emotional part, or is it connected to physical part? Is it connected to the fear of the hot, or is it connected to the fear of cold? Or is it connected to physicality of the measure of the hot and cold? And in fact, your neurosystem in physical body, you can dictate it very easy to see if somebody is interacting with a different neurosystem in the brain. You just need just 3 drops of ice water in different location of the body, or 2 or 3 drops of hot water in different location of the body. It tells you the neurosystem or the emotional side is a defect, and it can correct it through the emotional part of the body. This is one of the easy parts to do. So you The hot and the cold is the reverse of the same current flow magnetic field through the, what do you call it, neural system. Because it uses a copper GaNs, and if it's a hot, you use a different north to south. If it's cold, for example, you use south to north of the GaNs information. No, it's very much a balance between the two. This is how we immediately feel if something hot touches us in a certain point. We don't have nerve in every point of our body. The copper oxide in a gaseous state across our body, especially in the red muscles, is the information carrier. And when you touch it, because it's a superconductor condition, immediately sees it, it transfers it on the superconductor of the copper line into the nerve system, and the nerve system carries the rest of it. Yes, it's because it's in the gaseous state, the body of the man is a superconductor, immediate transformation of the information. And even if you have, in cases, have cut the nerve system here, you can, through the intentional fields created, through the emotional part, you can feel it. You don't need a neural connection. Yes, but that is a different way. We're talking about the plasma transfer of energy. So in so many ways, if the copper oxide receives a hot, it works through the, what do you call it, more gravitational than magnetical. If it works cold, it works more magnetical than gravitational. And then it knows if it's hot or cold. By change of the strength in gravitational to magnetical, or magnetical to gravitational, we know how hot and cold. It's not two different systems. It's what we thought before. It's very simple. Communication line in a gaseous state is very easy. It's not as complicated as we ever thought. It's the same with the pain. When, when you put your foot on a nail, the same thing happens. You change to a different current level. It tells you the change of the current. The rest of the environment does not report the same to the brain. So the brain recognizes there is a point, that there is a problem there. It's like a reverse of amputation. When you amputate, the information goes nowhere, you get phantom pain. When you put a foot on the nail, it's the reverse of the same position. The neural system, through gaseous state, transfer the knowledge across. Now, how do you do this? How do you explain to your child who's never been on this planet, is a man of space, how a banana smells? Because you could create it, because when you were on Earth, you had a banana. You know the taste of banana. You can imagine it, you can absorb it. How are we going to teach to our next generation in space? There was a fruit on Earth, we used to call it a banana. Very difficult. How do you connect the smell, the taste of banana to the emotion that he says, Mama, can I have a banana please today? But I've never seen a banana. Yes, but he hasn't. He hasn't. How do you do it? Do you create the emotion of the physicality of banana with the smell, the flavor, and your emotion, your attachment to it? Because you had the first banana with your papa, it was nice on the beach, on the chair, somewhere, and you will transfer the emotional energy through your own magnetic gravitational emotion to a third person. Good morning. This is what we're trying to do with you. With the system you have, this is what we're trying. That's why I said attend the two teaching of yesterday and today, or the day before, because the system which we are developing and the materials I've put at your position for the past 2 or 3 months is to be able to do this. You have the systems. When you use the GANs and other things with it, we can develop the technology. Yes, easy to use. But now we don't even want to use the water. We want to use the emotion of the water. This is the next step. You understand? So, what is important? The reason for this is if we can do what you have done with the emotion, yes, in bringing with it gravitational magnetic fields, we can change the matter state to an energy, a cancer to nothingness, using the emotion through the channels of what you have as gravitational magnetic field systems. So you have a system which reverses the emotion of a mother in respect to a daughter in respect to a child, which led to the breast cancer, that within seconds, the energy which created that balance is not there, cannot support the existence, then there is no cancer. There are a lot of people. Yes. Yes, but on the other hand, it's not easy because if you transfer the energy of the matter state of the cancer in the wrong place, you start cancer somewhere else in different form. You have to be able to create a system, very much what we showed, that one system not only transfers its energy across to the other, but has a way to allow to release it into the environment, that it doesn't hold on to. In a medical term, we call it secondary cancer, because replication, metastasis. So what you got to understand, what is the work here in the background, is to be like this. So to be able to do this, now we can create systems for a space where we can understand the changes, or to support the changes. We have brought a lady in to the Keshe Foundation work. She can explain to you in time, where we are looking for people with the specific diseases to come here to Aletta. She can work with you and use the work of the interaction of the plasmas. Oh yes, hi, you're back. To be able to change through emotion the diseases which we carry using the understanding of the process of the GANs. And she's been testing them for past 2 or 3 months with different ways, but understanding how one emotion can lead to or change the physicality in totality. So what would you like to test with? Do you want any volunteers? No, they can come next week or next time you're here. She's a resident, so she's always here. We're giving her a home and an office, and then we hope she moves in, and then the children come, and then a permanent. No, no, I had to be in Rome for 2 days. It was impossible. It is part of the work. Let me give you the microphone, because it's just a voice. No, you tell us what you're looking for, then people know what to look for.
So we may test.
Can you hear?
Every disease.
A bit closer. Yes.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think. We may test every
It's
disease
closer.
also
Yeah.
in many ways, from kinesiologic test or biowell or some other machines like Vega test or EAV or Mora test. It
This
depends
is
how we are comfortable to test the client.
yes, and what about the interact? If you remember, was part of originally we started in Loom, which turned out to be a lot of what I call fancy work with no reality to it. Now, this lady has some reality into it. We're trying to merge the two to be able to see we can develop a non-intrusive space medicine system, medical system, where we don't need any medicine, but we can assess the disease and then diagnose it and then find a solution through a gas or a plasma for that disease.
Yes, we have tested also on trees, plants,
But
the
the
GANs.
CO2, the gas.
Yeah.
And
the cactus and the capsicum were replying very well with the GANs. I have the diagram of the results. I will give you.
Yeah, I think you got to start teaching us, explain to us that we understand the parameters, because to us it's all foreign. You have to explain because she designs her own systems, and she's got the doctors and engineers who work with her to develop these technologies and test them. And for a space technology, we need this. As I said, we can't take all the doctors and all the medicine with us to space, but if we can come up with a comprehensive unit, I'm sure these units are in a, what do you call it, infant stage, then we can build on it. So if we can create the emotional feeling that we don't want, or we want to have a cancer because of certain conditions or whatever, can we change it that we don't get it? Can we change with our thoughts the environment of our body that we cannot support it? The system can support it to change of the position or the environment's gravitational magnetic field that leads to a perfect condition. This is the part that is important in the space technology. So you can see you're handling the plasma technology in every direction: the energy, the food, the creation of fields, the system control, the matter state, the medical side. To set up a space technology is not so easy, because you have to bring everything together and be able to show that it works. You are interested in energy, somebody else is interested in what do you call it, the medical application. But here in SSI, we sit and we are interested in totality of everything to cover the space technology, to do with the lift and the rest. And very soon, I might have a very good news for you. The Keshe Foundation will join one of the major space agencies that we take over as a Plasma Space Institute. Negotiation has started. If we succeed, we become part of management of a space institute in running and testing space technology in all aspects. The group will rise to some 5,000 scientists totally in capacity for research in plasma technology. So this is the way I'm pushing it, or trying to negotiate, that we become very much in one step as major shareholders in one of the major space institutes in the world, by not becoming one, but major space agencies are realizing that the propulsion is not working. And since we have shown the system, the Magraph system, and they produce some of it in the background, there is a huge possibility. We did not ask, they approached us if there's a possibility to merge the two institutes together. So we received direct, fresh governmental research for space technology, but in the plasma. And it'll take a few months to cross all the T's and the dots, but then we join another space agency, World Space Agency. This is important because You got to realize, if you look at the space exploration at this moment, we are at a total stagnation. We are absolutely at zero movement. We are not going anywhere. The Russians are not doing anything. The Chinese are still trying to replicate 1970s, 1980s work of the NASA. The Indians are on the same step. So there is a need, according to the people in the space industry, for a new unlock. All the shuttle systems have failed. All the rocket technology, space launches are facing different things. We are one of the possibilities. We are not the only possibility. And with showing the Maghreb system, and then they have replicated it long before you lot do, because they've seen the blueprint going back and forth in the securities, that there is a possibility that the space technology will start looking at new propositions. And we are one of them. We are not the only one. And we've been talking, we've been approached to open the space technology into gravitational magnetic system. I was in negotiation on Monday on it, and if it happens, it'll be fantastic for the foundation on that teaching. So we put you because there's a possibility that there will be a press release on it or press leakage on it, because there are a member of press available present on that day, and if they leak the information, we tell you before they do. So the space technology is going a step further in evolution with possibly plasma technology. There is a plasma technology which is getting developed by NASA, but that's on the plasma propulsion. They're not working on the plasma gravitational magnetic field positioning. And there is no much other options. A lot of levitation systems are getting tested because with the present political situation between East and West, the space has been the victim. And the countries who have developed a large number of space scientists, they have nothing for them to do. They become pen pushers because there is no real money now is spent in the space in a real testing condition. So we could be one of the possibilities. But as I said to them, we tested, we have the facilities to do everything ourselves. So in every aspect, to be in that position, we test everything. We develop everything, the energy, the food, the material, and part of the blueprint teaching today, I tried, because I know what's happening in the background, to bring you into it step by step. That you've seen conversion of material, how you do it, how you have the facilities to explore the conversion into everything you need. The heat, the transfer of the energy of the plasma, and as it goes to everything which you might need in the progress with the development of the new energy systems. It is very easy if now you see some 40 years of work is coming together in a very beautiful way, and more or less every man around the Keshe Foundation, in one way or another, all of you are and developing it, and you're part of it. As I said, the Keshe Foundation is not one person anymore. Think about how you can develop new systems for heating, new systems for food, new system for conversion of the plasma, new systems for, in every shape or form, medicine, health recognition, energy recognition. What you're going to have on your hands, which these are the easy part of it, is the worst one, is something a lot of you do not even consider to be there yet, because is part of the whole process. And this process is very simple. I start this because tomorrow we'll talk about it. and that is, in every shape or form, communication. You cannot run any of the systems for energy, for power, for food, without the proper line of communication. How you communicate, how you transfer energy, how you communicate with your plasmas. How do you understand what is the need of the plasma? Do you need to communicate to increase the gravity or magnetical? So one of the systems which I would like, if you are in the research in this kind of work, is how to plan to develop a system which creates a new communication systems for a space. All of you, according to present knowledge, you know, it will be a zero-time communication. Because you work on a gas state, everything is zero time. How do you create a system that carries your emotion and the information across galaxies, across whatever, instantaneously? This is what the next, one of the biggest objects of the technology is. The German Brazilian group are working very hard at it. They achieved, as I told you before, part of it, but because the intention is wrong, they can't complete the work. The Brazilian scientists are very advanced in zero-time communication, but they cannot complete it because the use and the intention of it comes from the Second World War, and they cannot see where they're going wrong. So what you need to understand is how do you transfer your emotion into communication instantaneously? How do you develop a system which reads what you call reading, or what I call connects with your emotion instantaneously? How do you create a system that you decide on which strength of the magnetic gravitational field you communicate with the other system? The tighter the field, the faster the motion. Zero-time communication happens with you. You do it all the time. Now you have to look in the instruction, full structure of the human body. Where is your zero communication? And try to replicate that system. A system where you instantaneously respond and you instantaneously get a physical reaction. This system is built inside your body. It's part of your brain. It's part of the operation of your physicality and your brain. It sits with a very high power and very low power system. And because it's so different, is that the high power is contracted to a very small position, and it releases such a high power that it creates the whole of the weaker one to respond faster. We call it the emotion with the physical part of the brain. Very, very small part, very powerful, instantaneously. If I touch you, you put your foot on the nail, immediately you react. It's literally instantaneous. Zero time. You don't put your foot on the nail and walk after 5 minutes, oh, I've got a nail in my foot. Now, look into the structure of the brain, look in the way the brain communicates internally, non-physical connection, all through magnetic gravitational fields, and now you need to replicate such a technology. Without communication, does not matter what you build, it's useless. You can build the energy unit. If you cannot communicate to transfer it to become medicine or a system for health, it's a waste of time. If you cannot bring it, because forget, as I said this morning in the teachings, these units and these gadgets are useless in plasma technology. They're too slow. By the time you press the button, you're already 100,000, 1 million kilometers down the road. By the time it reacts, you're 2 million kilometers down the road. Because electronics, electrical systems of the present time are too slow to work with plasma. Most probably, till we do not develop a full communication, zero-time communication, is just be happy with the little bits, crumbs, like a power units, or maybe the pens, and the rest, which we have. Because if you cannot communicate in what you want, how much you want, where you want, and the way you want, and a most important thing, everything you want, everything you desire to have is not just, it will never happen. Just need to take what you need, as much as you need, when you need, and that's all. I need a glass of water. I need enough water to satisfy my thirst. I stand in the unit which we saw before. If it was here, the unit we had, you could stand in the middle and how I cleaned it out. There we are. Where you stand in the middle and you decide, I want water. Do you want a 10 liter of water? Because you know more than 2 liter absorption instantaneously can kill you. Or you take a cup which you need. This is what I keep on saying. There are no saving banks. There are no reserve tanks anywhere in the universe. You change, you take what you need at the point you need. And a communication system is a backbone of the whole work. And now we have to produce a communication system, which to us is acceptable, we understand, and with it we understand it has to be when we need it, as much as we need it, where we need it. So let's start thinking about a communication system which we taught in the teachings, in the private teachings of the Spaceship Institute to knowledge seekers in the weekly courses. Try to understand. I don't take so much because so much water kills me. I take enough because I know it's there when I need it. It's two different ways of approach. Fear or the pleasure knowing that you have all of it is you who decides. Then you understand the way you release energy will change in your whole total structure. How much you need, the way you need, why you need, and the way you need it. If you go back on the teachings of the Keshe Foundation and the papers of the Keshe Foundation, even in the Keshe technology website, we always said, in the space we'll carry no food and no medicine. Why? Because we don't need reserves. The reserves of the state of the energy in the universe is at your disposal. So you can't have all of it. So you take what you need, when you need, at the time you need. Till you don't learn this, your line of communication will be useless, because you ask for things which you can't have, and you're not having, you put a lot of energy in it, so you create your own demise, because you waste the energy for having something which you can't have. In English word, we call it envy. Envy in a space is the main cause of annihilation. Because you can't, you have all the understanding, and the only way to be able not to be envious is to understand the line of communication, that you dictate the position. This is part of what in some of the teachings I explain, and in a very simple way, if you go back to the ambassadorial meetings for the units, I explain it, is us not trusting in ourselves that we can be correct, that we take what we need the way we want, because we know if you take more than what you need, more than, let's say, a liter of water, you're going to fail the kidney, and then the whole life ends. Do we stop drinking out of fear, as I said, or do we stop drinking because it's enough, but that's what I need? Because the same line of communication. By the time you change your mind from greed to being correct out of fear, you're dead already. So you understand how you have to understand the process of mind, the process of emotion, and emotion has to be correct line of communication without fear. And the fear comes when you don't know if you're going to have it, when you're going to have it. But if you have it, you have no fear, because you know you can have it the time you want it. You have the line of communication to create the intention and the systems to do it. So where it's going to take us now, where we go from now on, is what I said. It's the line of communication. If some of you are expert or understand this, start developing communication systems. It's very easy to do. The way you work with a communication system is slightly different than the control system. You have the control system, which they face each other. With a control system, sorry. This is one of possible ways of using your coils. Instant communication. Instant communication tools are paramount if you don't do it. Understand the way it's positioned. The need and to want to be on the same process. You got to start understanding how you create these communication lines. Zero time. How much of gravitational you give, how much of the magnetical, immediately what you give is received. How do you build a gravitational into the magnetical? Or do you go to total superimposing one over the other? It's the way you want to receive fast, or you want to receive slow, or you want to send very rapidly. That all depends on how you connect yourself. is instantaneous. The instantaneously comes from, if you go back to the very original teachings of the foundation, when you have two magnets, if the flow is the same, you call it gravitation. Instantaneously you connect them. If you have opposite to it, the flows have to go around to find the fields. This is what we call gravitational. This is what we call magnetic. And would you like to connect in this way? It's all how you set your system up. You got to understand there is a new way, a new opportunity to at least to have an interim till you can develop systems totally through emotion. I wish a cup of water because my intention is to satisfy my own thirst and I wanted to be able to drink it. It'll manifest itself here on the table as a cup of water. Because the intention is not to have too much, throw it on the floor or throw it in the air. The intention is to be enough that it can justify the satisfaction of my thirst. So, immediate, direct, and absolute is, these are all part of the blueprint what you're going to develop. Now, you have to decide where you want to go and how just you want to be with it. Any questions?
Okay, just having a look here.
No questions? We call it the day.
Following what you are saying now, GANS is just a way.
Of course. It's just a tool.
The real operator is me.
In a way, yes. You understand? The thing is, we came from a tangible material, and it was time to go into what you call nanomaterial, and then we went to the gas to see the still. Now we see the operation of the gas, the fields without the matter state. Because to human being, we need the confirmation of existence through visible, tangible condition. We brought this to be coated and become this. And then he said, okay, accept, I said this before. And then we brought you to be this. Now you have to accept the next step is the energy of this. Because you know this came from this. So now you have to understand how the energy of this operates. This is a plasma. We're not talking about the physical tangibility, we're talking about matter state of plasma. In a way, in its own dimension, on its own strength, not in the strength of what you call plasma. Because this is the biggest problem. The biggest problem which we have from now on is, as I said before, is change of understanding the next step. But this step is unconditional and just the fields. But in fact, the collection of these fields led to the creation of the matter into stargate. So now, because we are so physical, we accept that the problem is this. Where, in fact, you feel like having a long hair, you allow a long hair to be created. because it's emotion transferred into, I want to be a hippie. What does it mean? I change my information to my physicality to produce hair that is long, then I have a hippie hair. If I want a banana, I don't create a banana. I have the desire, the emotion, and I create, go to a shop and buy a banana. I give it physicality. This is what we're afraid of, and this is what we're going to learn. This is the biggest problem. And now we start teaching on this part. This is where it's coming in, and this is where the fear starts. Because how do we know? Are we good enough to know? Am I going to get a copper or am I going to get a banana? Needs a lot of trust in the totality of the knowledge. Because your body does it. It decides to have a cell in your toe, it happens there. It feels you're going to have a, if you have a bigger nose, you get a better attraction, so people try and get a bigger nose. Because that way I get attention, I can reproduce a offspring. If I have a normal nose, nobody help me, nobody notices me. But in my back of my brain, my emotion says, if I have something abnormal, I become central, I have a better chance of reproducing. That's all we change. The only reason for evolution is to increase the possibility of reproduction. So now if we can create that nose, so, and we can embed it in our RNA, so it exists. It's us who has to understand how to do it. And this is what we talk about. How you communicate to change the energy in a way that it becomes matter, or the energy of the matter where you need it.
But if we are able to find this key in our brain, we are able to create every organ or some potential.
This is what we are teaching in the teachings of the plasma. Yes, right. You can. It's very easy. But that's what I said. Next week, I take a back seat in teaching because, as you know, the first preliminary steps of transferring energy, being able to see, because once we start seeing our own energy, we start understanding it. And Caroline starts the teaching on that side from next week. She gave a talk a couple of weeks ago in the health section. Now she has the expertise, she's done it for years, that how you can trust and see your own energy fields. And then in the process, we teach how to bring it together to be able to create what you need, untangible. Like the reactors you've seen now says, when we brought the reactors were there, they were rotating. We had to believe in the rotation will release a field. And we shown, weight, increase, change of things, shutting system down, 129, so we know it exists. Now, it's the next step to understand, and we encourage people who are realistic. We're not looking for magicians or other people. I can see my aura and these things that is irrelevant to us. We want to go through a process of learning how we can see our fields motion, which what we call in interaction with the environment, the aura, and then measure what aura, what gives, how we can bring it, how we can control it, that we can make package of energy without a maglev system. Then we can release it, trust it, that will be there. We call it the tree, we call it the plant, we call it whatever. So this is the next step next week. And then if we find more experts, people who can come and add to it, we bring more and more people, and we allow you around the world to bring this knowledge together. Because once we can do this, then we can build the elusive spaceship without matter, because we all learn how to position the energy fields, that the interaction, like the pyramid star formation, leads to creation of the amino acid. Oh, hello.
Mr. Keshe, this is Thomas from Vienna. I got a question.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get my thoughts right on this. So what I don't understand is if we are like the center point of the vibrations or external fields and we control it in, let's say, not in a selfish way, I want to do something, so I just do it in my own. Why do we need some external tools for it, like the generator or something like this? Do we have to be?
Because we have physical people here.
Yeah, that's the. Is this the reason that we have to go into plasma state?
Yes, because you see, I can show you. I promised you one thing, and I promised this years ago, and I always keep one way or another to what I said. I'll bring for you to see the soul of blessed's name, Christ. Then you understand. And I explain to it how it'll be done. So, do we need all this physicality? Or, in my knowledge, I have enough to show you, and then I'll become a magician. The whole process we are going through is to take the magic out of it. That you all can do it, then the human race goes in one step further. Don't forget, what I taught you today, it's very easy. All of you carry, especially if you are from Europe or whatever, in your system what is called RNA. And in your RNA is everything, every sound, every movie, every pictures, every valley, an animal, you, your great-grandfather, your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather ever heard.
Like we had a whole experience.
You had the whole experience. And then, because I know where to tap, which line of communication to use, some of you down the line come from a blood which has seen the Christ. So, I don't manifest him, but through your knowledge, you see his soul. Because you bring the message. This is what you will understand very soon. In the sooner than you can think, where and how the process works. You will feel the essence of the presence, not the physicality you want to see a face. This is the difference.
Just one more small question, if I can.
Yeah.
Let's say I just remember, and you were referring about us like a spaceship with our thoughts, right?
Yeah.
I do know what you mean, actually, but I think that's a different time story.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So you have to understand how the energies are connected. It's very much what we explained. Do you want the taste of banana, the smell of the banana, the feeling of the banana, the emotion of the banana, or the physical banana? So now you understand, and slowly we head in that direction to understand how we can transfer energy and to what limit. Because we have line of connection, I can enter to any of your emotions. I can enter into any of the direction of physicality which you might have or think. But the only thing is I cannot interfere with it because I know what you call the punishment for it. Because then I have taken something which is not mine. So the decision stays with you to decide to cross that line. I can give as much love as possible. But if you're not there to receive it, or you put a condition on it, then you are in trouble, not me. Because I made it available. It's you. It's like I bring a piece of a cake on the table. It's on the table. It's you who's got to decide. I made the decision. I made the cake. I went to buy the flour. I made the oven. I made everything for it to be. It's you who's got to decide. If I take this, I can enjoy it, or I take it. I'm going to take 2 pieces just in case I will not come across another piece of cake tomorrow. Then you make a decision, not me. Because I made the cake, I sit you there and shove it down your throat because I made it. You have to eat it. It's a big difference. Every man on this planet, every being on this planet has an access point. And we know the access point. You can reach the emotion, you can reach the physicality. You offer the emotion and you wait for physicality to respond. If the physicality does not respond, you leave it to it till it matures. We had a very interesting experience. We used to be, whenever we said we brought this technology to this place, I said, why here? What us? What's wrong with us? Is there something you want from us? More or less the only time we haven't been asked this question is in Italy. Italians never asked, why us? Why here? They said, yes, come and bring it, we'll see what we can do with it. It's very strange. Very strange. So it's why is not why. We know all the ways, but it has to be through the mature wanting. And it comes out of the maturity of time. So remember one thing. Without the communication, everything you've done is useless. Even the use of this system. Some of you very soon will understand how we make our life through every single one of your lives through these systems. Strange. Any other question? Or
I have a question because I'm doing my best, I beg your pardon, but I cannot understand how was possible that when I had in my car the two little bottles that you gave to me with the two different guns, for 3 times I was jumping in time and space. I don't know how it happened, but I don't know how. For 25 kilometers in 1 nanosecond.
She's asked me this question. I think it's the 3rd time or the 2nd time. She'll be teaching you, not me. Very soon she's the teacher. She's a very knowledgeable teacher. And in a way, what has happened about 3 months ago, am I correct? 2, 3 months ago, I gave her, before the summer holidays, I gave her a box of guns, what she thinks is a CO2, and a box of guns which she thinks is a carbon dioxide. And he goes like this, Giovanni. Let me explain to you again something very interesting. Goes back to the line of communication. You say somehow it happened to you 2, 3 times, that in no time, 3 times, you went 25 kilometers or whatever kilometers and you were there.
But
Immediately. The same second you could feel it.
I was on the phone, I said goodbye, I was looking in the street and
Your microphone.
I did not know where I was. So I have pushed the GPS to know exactly where I was.
One day I explain when you're ready. The only thing is, again, it goes on the level of you connecting to the physicality of the matter because you had the guns. You don't look at the intention of the communication. My intention was that you see enough to affect you to devote your life to the foundation. And I've achieved it. You understand?
Was your intention.
It's my intention.
Now I understand.
That's why you're here 2, 3 times. And you want to do more. One day you will learn how I work. You understand? If it was just the guns you measured, it would have been nothing. Your time, your life is to be zero time to go back to your husband because you love him so much. Yeah. And this position allows you to achieve that. So if that's zero, I can get there. You understand? So I gave you your dream. You understand? So the rest, I've done my job. You don't know how much I know. If I tell you what
that you know, I should let you know too.
You got to come from where I come, millions of years back. So you got to understand, you wanted that. Because if you achieve that zero time, then it's no time to reach to your husband, which you love so much. Then it's zero time, I'll be there. I've done that, I explained to Mark Arman. I say, you see a shooting star, you see a shooting star. I can show you a lot of these things. But as individuals, the whole thing is to carry the totality with us. You understand? This was the magic in the sleep. Any other question? Emotions are the main line of communication in physicality. When we're satisfied, the emotion settles, you have no need. Shall we call it a day for today? What's the time? Ringing telephone. This is for.
15 minutes to 5.
Okay, I think it's a good time to stop. We usually stop at 5 o'clock. We meet tomorrow as the usual workshop day on Thursday morning. We have a few announcements to make. Please, if you know anyone from Belgium, you know anybody from Holland, please make sure they listen to tomorrow morning announcement. It's fundamental for Belgium citizens, Belgium Keshe Foundation supporters, as many people as you know, and Holland, the Dutch people. This is very important announcement for you. It's to do with your life and to do with what is set up by people in Antwerp for you to be trapped in. It can put your life in danger the way they're operating, because we explained to you, we have emails, we have passed on the emails to national securities, international police, the way the operation has run in Antwerp. They're putting your names on the list, and then that list allows the security services in Belgium to intimidate, threaten your life and your family. It's well operated through Antwerp. The names are, and these are all false names, in a way put in the list falsely to create a, and then create a file for it the way the operation is running in Antwerp. And then it's done through people who support them in other places. And we have received information, communication, and this communication has been passed on to the Interpol and Italian police, which is looking after the case, that now the Keshe Foundation supporters in Belgium and in Holland have come under direct threat of the police through this kind of work, and people are registering their complaint, and as they are the supporters of Keshe Foundation, they are worried about their life. We have to inform you, check the sites which are putting your name deliberately in Antwerp, that they cause you problem. And they use it against us that we are your opposition to the foundation, when in fact they are giving names out to intimidate. This is a new tactic which has come out of Antwerp through the people with the red circle. We have the emails and we have all the communications. So please, if you know any Belgians or Dutch, ask them to be on the line tomorrow. We explain to you how they're doing it, and it's important. Now the real security services work has started. The real people who claim they are nothing, they show their hand who they really are. So it's our job to protect the followers of the foundation, the Keshe Foundation supporters in these cases. And now we have seen the real work. Fabrication, false naming, and creating things just to create problems because they're paid by their paymasters. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. That'll be tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central European time.
9 as usual.
Yep. And that'll be the 86 Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Okay. That's the end of today's teaching. Thank you everyone for attending. Shut down the live stream.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you too. It's good.
Could you tell me how can I get in contact with this group from Germany or Brazil? What he was talking about?
I'm not sure about the group in Brazil. I think they're quite secretive. I don't know their connection. There is a Facebook group, I believe.
Is there a German one as well?
There is a German group that just started up, and I noticed on the live stream that they had posted a link. So I'm just trying to find that here. Just a minute.
Thank you. How can we protect us? How can we protect us?
Against what? What do you need protection for?
Well, aren't the system or the others or whatever threatening the ones in Belgium?
Threatening who in Belgium?
Didn't Keshe just said like the guys from Holland and Belgium should be online because they put their names on lists and so on?
I think you need to just wait till the story unfolds tomorrow and lay it out. It's complicated. And
Sir, I had a question earlier about Ethiopia. Some people over there, how do they go about? Do they send you all something if they? I'm in USA, but they just if they want to know more about what he's doing in Africa, how do they do that?
We're setting up a support site to be able to answer a lot of this by fax, and also ability to get a hold of the correct people right through a support site. So
okay, in each country, yeah. Because I looked in the United States and couldn't. All the numbers were overseas. So yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So please wait for the announcement. I'm sure everybody will be waiting for that and be able to take advantage of that way to contact us.
What's your name?
My name's Vince. I'm the webmaster.
Vince. Okay. Thank you for putting me on the panel. So that was my question because I'm just starting about a month ago, but I'm so excited. I'm telling people everywhere I can on the planet. So I don't know how they can get in touch with you all. So I'll look for that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Okay,
Vince,
yes.
One last question. I'm Thomas. I'm not sure if you heard from Kevin from me. I'm the one who is streaming in German and doing video updates every day.
Yes, hi Thomas.
Yeah, hi. And I just want to like offer my help because in the German section there is no like a messenger, if you want to call it like that, and people are listening to me. I got really like in 3 weeks I got 1,000 subs on YouTube and I'm exploding at the moment. So if you need any help to like spread whatever you think is to be spread at the right time when the time is right, please contact me. I do think I know much more of the story, even though you didn't say something.
Are you associated with the Keshe Foundation Germany Facebook group?
Yeah, I'm in contact. I did the interview with Kevin and set up Facebook groups in Austria, Germany, and Switzerland already. And I'm working for the Wikipedia and organizing Dolmetsch stuff to translate it into Germany. And we put up, it's almost ready. They already wrote the whole 30 hours into German text already. It's insane.
Okay, maybe Tom, who knows, could
yeah,
get in touch with you because he's looking for.
I am this person. I am Tom who knows.
Oh,
he is Tom.
Right. I am Tom. I'm Thomas.
Got mixed up there between the chat and the names. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. So let's talk about this offline. So I'm still broadcasting to YouTube. Let's end the broadcasting, and let's get a hold of each other in other ways. Okay. So right now, Please look for the support site that will be coming up shortly. But we'll make an announcement when it's ready to go. So thank you everybody for coming and
Thank you.
and listening to us in the background here.